Today on the Railway Room, I'm building some 009 models of Welshpool and Llanfair coaches from Inoxion Models. Hello friends, and welcome back to the Railway Room. So yes, today I'm going to be building up some Welshpool and Llanfair style Pickering coaches using the recently released 009 kits from Inoxion Models. When the Welshpool and Llanfair originally opened, there were 3 coaches built by Pickering and Company, which were the mainstay of the passenger stock on the railway originally. Sadly, when passenger services were withdrawn, they were all withdrawn and scrapped. Happily though, in the 21st century, 3 replica coaches have now been built, and they're regularly to be seen in action on the line today. Now, I have been fancying some models of these coaches for a while to beef up my 2'6" prototype rolling stock, but the only real kits that you've been able to get have been the scratch aid etches from Worsley Works, which are very nice and good proportions and can be made up into very, very nice models, but they are very much scratch aids rather than full kits. And being brass, they're best up being soldered, so they're not really kits for beginners. So as soon as I saw that Inoxion had brought these new kits out, I had to have a couple, so I sent off straight away and ordered and bought one of each. They've got both the brake composite and the standard third available. So without further ado, let's get down and have a look at these kits and see what you actually get inside them. Okay, so within the kit we get a sheet of instructions, which is very nice. A lot of 3D printed kits don't actually bother including instructions. And so you've got a list in here of all the sizes of pieces of glazing that you're going to need. And there's a basic list of instructions for how you're going to put everything together. And we get 2 parcels. So if we look at the first one, catalogue number and the description. So this is the Welshpool Llanfair composite coach, and then we've got 2 bogies, the roof along the back, and then the chassis and the underframe parts. And then wrapped up in this little parcel is the main body of the coach. So on here you've got the kit details again, so you know exactly what it is, but the first thing when you see it is, whoa, what's all this weird casing on it? I've never seen that before, but I think it's actually a pretty smart idea to protect the kit during transit, so I think that's pretty cool. But even now I can see in there's some quite nice detailing on the coach, but the first thing we're going to have to do is get it off the supports and everything. Now, I've been told that soaking it in warm water will help all the supports to come away, so I'm going to try that. But I think with this part, the first thing I'm going to need to do is just clip away this box around the outside, so that you can actually get in to the coach. And then just to say, the third coach has got its own separate instructions and the base. And if we open up, it's the same thing with the coach body, but we can see in there, hopefully, the different parts inside. Okay, so I've just had this soaking in this very warm but not unpleasantly hot water. Let's see how. And the supports are just pulling away from the coach. Now we just need to be very, very careful, particularly around the balcony here, because you've got this very fine, whatever you call it, the railings around there. We don't want to damage that. So that's very good. These are just peeling away. I feel like we're very close now. Yep. Woof. There we go. Job done. And that was certainly a lot less painful than the way I tried to do it on the last kit of cutting it all away. But we can see now there's some good level of detail, and there's some of the railings, as I said, are very fine, and all the door handles. You've got the lamp irons on the end, and on the inside, if we can see, there's all the wooden slatting on the door interior detail. So that's very nice indeed. The next thing that we need to do is to let this cool down so that it can regain its rigidity. And so hopefully it's going to be the same with the floor pieces. So I don't know if I've left that soak a bit too much, but I'm just going to peel away. And if we can see it, you just bend and pull off. And just slide the finger down. There we go, there's one roof. Underneath. And then we just got down here is a pair of bogies. And then got the parts for the couplings and the NEM pockets. So yeah, that's all just come off there really easy. And now we just need to let these dry and hopefully make sure they stay nice and straight. Okay, so we can see how the priming has brought out all the details in that, including all of this panelling on the inside. It's very nice. So I'm going to make a start on painting the body. The instructions suggest to paint it before assembling everything together, so that's what I'm going to do. And I'm going to start with the inner colours in the recessed panelling first, and then work my way up. So I'm going to start with the cream on the outside here. The one I'm using is this Umbrella Correct RC416, which I think they technically call Pullman cream, but I think it works quite nicely for this, at least I hope it will. So I'm going to do 2 quick coats across of the cream sections. It's very useful to look at pictures of the prototypes to work out what's supposed to be in which colour. So I'm not going to worry too much about trying to be too neat and tidy at this point, because if I go over the edge, I'm going to come down with the brown later, and because that's a lot darker colour, it's going to cover it over very nicely. The most important thing is that where you've got this recessed panelling, just to make sure I've got paint right in to all of the corners. And it's going to be a little bit thin, a little bit patchy on this first coat, but that's fine. That's why we're going to do 2 coats of quite thin ones. Cool, so that's the first coat done, and now because it's acrylic, by the time I finish that first coat, the bit like the fourth bridge, the first bit's going to be dry now, so it's going to be good to just go straight back around. I won't bother filming because it's going to take up far too much time of the video and not really gaining anything. So I have said before how much I enjoy the process of brush painting, which I find very satisfying and quite therapeutic, quite relaxing. However, when you get a big flat area like this, it can be quite tricky to get a good result using the brush. So what I have just gone in and done is masked off the top section and got the airbrush out, just to airbrush these big brown panels across the bottom. I've used what seemed to have become my go-to dark brown colour, the Vallejo chocolate brown. Looking at this now, I kind of wish that I'd probably just masked off the bottom and airbrushed the topping cream as well. It might have been a bit easier, but that's just hindsight for you. What I'm going to do next is paint in the bottom of the end pieces here behind the balcony, and also around the door. The balcony, as long as we're careful, pay attention to what we're doing, so you can get your brushing not too bad. Okay, so once I've done that on this end, if we can sort of see there, sort of like that, I'll then just do the same thing on the other end. Okay, so I was going to come around and paint all the framing and everything on the outside, but then I figured I'm probably really going to want to get the inside done as well, because I'm going to wind up getting paint sticking through the windows and onto the outside if I'm not careful. So it's probably best to get the inside done before I go any further. To be honest, I might have been better doing the inside first, but you know, what can you do? It's not the way that I've gone about it. I'm going to use this Panzer Aces from Vallejo. It's number 310 Old Wood. I've never used this one before, so I'm not sure how it's going to go, but it looks like it should be a decent colour for it, so I'll give it a go. I'll just paint all through the inside with that as the base colour. And one thing that I will note in terms of the detail is that there should be an armrest in the middle here that's missing. Probably it's going to be a bit too fragile. I'm happy enough without it, to be honest, but it is one of those extra little details that we could add in later on if we were that way inclined. Just a simple bit of brass wire or something bent to shape would get that. Okay, so I haven't got a basic brown on the inside. I'm now going to come around and do the framework on the outside. So this is just going to be a kind of painstaking and rather long-winded process of using the masking tape to mask off various areas, and then coming in with the black and just painting the edge framework kind of like this. This process is going to be very long-winded and quite repetitive, so I'm not going to film the whole thing because I don't want this video to be 500 years long. But I'll just show you this bit as a basic thing so you can see what's going on. And then once the paint's dry, and this is an advantage of using acrylic paints rather than enamel or something, because they do tend to dry very quickly. I'm going to take this off probably a bit sooner than I should, just so that I can show you. So yeah, that's come off nicely. You can see the black along the bottom there, and on the top. Yeah, see the black frame across the top there. So I'm just going to carry on slowly masking off bits, painting them up, and then moving on to the next section. And what I'm aiming towards is this side that I've already done in true Blue Peter style. So it's just these framing around the outsides here, the either side of the doorway, and around the panels at the bottom. There are a few bits here where the black paint's kind of gone across because my masking wasn't very good. So I'll come back and then just touch those over with the cream or brown or whatever the appropriate colour is going to be. And then I'll also paint up all of the metalwork around the balcony ends. That's going to be in black as well. So I'll do that all up at the same time. So I've got the basically brown, cream and the black support lining done now. I'm pretty happy with that. Another thing I've done is I've just put a little bit of cream across the top of the doorways there. Not really going to be able to see that when it's in use, but it's an extra little touch. So the next thing I'm going to attempt to do is the window frames, which seem to be in a kind of a dark reddish brown. To be honest, I'm not sure if this is going to work or if this is going to be a bit of a folly, because they are very, very tiny. It's going to be very tricky to paint these accurately. If it doesn't work out, I will probably just paint them back over in the cream and leave it essentially like this. But I thought it's worth giving it a go, see what happens. So it's going to be a different brown to the either this brown or the interior brown. So I'm trying another Vallejo one. This one is number 7829 Amaranth Red, which looks like a nice kind of reddish brown. And rather than using a paintbrush, I'm going to just dab with the end of a cocktail stick and see if I can get it a bit more accurate with that. So literally just going around the interior. Now, to be honest, I have a feeling that this brown is not really what I'm looking for. It's perhaps a bit too red. So I've got here a Humbrol number 62 matte, which is apparently leather. So I'm going to give that a try down the other end to see if that looks any better. Yeah, so already I'm much preferring the look of that. So I think I'm going to carry on using that Humbrol paint and go around and do all of the other windows and redo these ones that I did with the Vallejo. Okay, so now I'm reasonably happy with the painting around the windows there. It's not 100% perfect, but to be honest, it's as good as I'm going to get. So the next thing I'm going to do is I think I'm ready to start putting glazing in. So I think I showed this earlier, but the instruction sheet tells you exactly what sizes of pieces of glazing you need, and I've cut pieces to all the correct, hopefully, sizes. And so I'm now going to make a start on gluing them into position. So I'm going to be using the old glue and glaze, but to be honest, pretty much any clear PVA is going to do a good job for you on this. And rather than using the nozzle that comes with it, I'm just going to be using a little of the old cocktail stick just to try and keep the flow of the glue nicely under control. I'm going to start off with the big windows here. We've got 2 of these, so I'm just going to put some glue across the inside. This clear plastic hard sheeting that I'm using comes with this removable cover just to protect it until you're using it, so taking off the outside, and then I'm just going to slip it in. And gently press it down into position. And so once those have dried in, it's then just a quite easy matter of hopefully peeling the protective cover off the inside. There we go, just like that. And so that's the glazing in all on the first side. And now I just need to do the same thing. So probably the next bit then is going to be the underframe, the chassis. So it's fairly straightforward. The underneath parts, that's just going to be all matte black, and then I'll use a brown for the floor sections. So the other thing that's going to need painting up is going to be the bogies. So again, I'm just going to quickly go over these in a plain matte black for now. So what I'm going to try, this is probably not a very good match for the prototypes, but obviously I'm modelling a fictional railway, not the actual Welshpool, so they don't need to match precisely. As long as it looks good to my eyes, that's the most important thing. So I'm going to try this Tamiya XF79 linoleum deck brown on the balcony ends. Not the most logical one, but for the floors I'm actually going to use this Humbrol 91, which is a black green. I'm going to give that a try and see what it looks like. Okay, so next up I'm going to have a go at trying to put the chassis bit together. So we've got these 2 main pieces, put them underneath, and so this underframe piece is just going to glue straight down there. We've got these locating lugs on these holes, and with this we just want to make sure that we've got the raised sections on what's going to be the bottom. Okay, so I'm going to add my glue to this piece. Now I did find that this piece has actually warped quite a bit because it's been quite a while since I cut it off the support pieces, because it has taken me quite a while to build this. But it's not a problem if it does warp, if you find that. It is actually quite flexible, surprisingly so. I thought resin was going to be very, very brittle, but there is a lot of flex in that. So if you do find that it has warped, it's not a huge problem. Similar to getting it off the support pieces, just dunk it in some warm but not too hot water. That will help it to loosen up, and then as it cools, just put it on a flat surface and weigh it down, and then it'll cool down and get back to the correct shape. So that's not a huge issue if that happens. So I'm just going to put my glue on here and then glue this into place. Ooh, that came out quick. Yeah, I don't want too much glue. And so then that's just going to very carefully drop in, hopefully. And then just push that down, get it nice and set. And then so for the bogies, for each bogie you've got a couple of different pieces. So there's the main bogie itself, and there's a pivot piece, and then there's the coupling extension and the any end pocket should you choose to use it. So the bogie can go on either end, as long as when we put it into position the coupling is on the outer end obviously. And so this has a slightly raised lip that goes on here. You will see on here there is one end's got a little hole in it, so that end with the hole needs to be on the outside and at the what is going to be the top when the bogie is the correct way up. So just a little bit of glue on there. And then make sure it's nice and straight. And then if you're using the any end pocket, there is a little, if we can see close enough, there is a little knobble, for the lack of a better word, a locating lug on the top of that. So that shows you where it's going to go into the little hole I showed you a moment ago. And so again, just a little bit of glue around there. And that's in nicely, so there's the bogie with the coupling. And then we've got these two little pivoty pieces. And so the bogie just fits over these round holes with the coupling on the outside, and then this little round piece is just going to drop into the hole and hold it in place, hopefully. And the same with this end. Very good. So there's the bogies in place, and they do move. Now you'll find that there is a limit to how far the bogies will pivot because of the steps. These are very big coaches by 009 standards, so it is going to limit how tight the corners you're going to get them around. But you can cut away part of these steps if you need to try and get it around a tighter corner. Hopefully I don't think I'm going to need to. I've got quite generous curves on my layout. Okay, so I've got the glazing in all the way around now. It's not a super perfect job, but I think it's good enough, hopefully at least. I mean, to be honest, glazing of the coaches is always something I kind of struggle with a bit. I always seem to wind up getting little bits of traces of glue onto the window panels and making it a little bit of a mess, or maybe the window's not quite the right size, or anyway. I'm reasonably happy with that. So the next thing, I'm going to be looking at attaching the body onto the underframe. So it's fairly easy and straightforward where it goes, because you've got these indents in the thing to mark the different compartments. So just a little test to make sure it fits in nicely, which thankfully, yes, it does, because it's a well-designed kit. So what I want to do is I'm just going to run a little bit of glue across the bottom of the body, I hope. very carefully and hopefully quite precisely. Put it in position and press it down and hold it. Okay, so there we have it. It's starting to look properly like a real coach now. So I guess I might as well pop the wheel sets in. Now the instructions do list a specific part number of Graham Farish wheels that they recommend. They are actually 7mm diameter wheels. So the ones I'm going to be using are going to be these Matheson 7mm disc coach wheels. It's completely up to you. But these are nice wheels. They're a little bit cheaper than the Farish ones. They are fully metal, and I find they run well. They're good value. So hopefully these should drop in quite nicely. So if we just put in one side first. I'm starting to wonder if I should have popped the wheels in before fixing the bogies on, but no, that's gone in quite nicely. It's not too challenging. And the other one, yeah, it's going in really easy. Yep, there we go, it's in. And the other side. Bosh. And that runs quite nice and smooth. So yeah, pretty pleased with that. Now there's only really one thing left to do, and that is, of course, the roof. So one nice thing that Inoxion have been doing recently with their kits is making the roofs easily removable. So they come pre-moulded with these little holes at both ends and similar little notches on this side, and they are to take magnets. So they are 3mm by 2mm round circular magnets that go in there. They don't come with the kit, so you have to buy them separately. I picked up this pack cheap enough from a well-known internet site. Okay, so there's my 4 magnets, because obviously there's 4 little holes, so it takes 4 magnets, and it's just a simple matter of bobbing a little bit of glue into the hole, not too much, and then I'm going to use my tweezers, I think, because I don't want to get the glue onto my fingers, and then just pop in the magnet into the little hole. Now the tricky thing is obviously these tweezers are also magnetic, but it just pops in and the glue holds it in place, so I can slide the tweezers away. And one thing you will notice here is that once the magnet's gone in, it's actually forced some of the glue out of the hole, because it's such a precise fit. It's really snug. It's very nice. So just to show you close, just gently press it in, and you could maybe saw the glue oozing out again. So just dab away any excess glue. And of course clear off any glue off the tweezers, and then it'll be the same thing again for the little holes in the coach body. Now one thing you do have to be very careful with the magnets is that you make sure that you put the second one in the correct way round, so that they're attracted together and they don't repel, because if you get it the wrong way around, the coach roof will just pop off. Don't ask how I know, but if you do glue one in the wrong way around by accident, they are very challenging to get back out again in order to make a correction. So do make sure you've got the magnets the right way around before you put them in and glue them down. So I am just going to wait for the glue to fully dry before popping the roof on, because I don't want to super glue the roof straight into position. That would somewhat defeat the whole point of the magnets. So in the meantime, I guess I might as well paint up the roof. So it's already in this grey primer, which is pretty close to what I want anyway, really. What I will do, if I can find the right paint, is I will just give it a quick swoosh of a black wash. And so the final-ish touch, I've just got to paint all these little roof vents and chimneys. Just got to paint up all these little roof vents up here into black. I just pop the roof back on, and it just clips on with a lovely satisfying snap. Now one thing that I have sort of noticed is that, I don't know if it shows up on the camera, there is a slight gap along the top here. Almost wondering if maybe this roof is a little bit too long to just have the two magnets. So maybe I might get extra magnets to go into the middle there to just hold it properly in place, but you can't really tell from a normal viewing distance, so it's not really an issue. And the next thing, I've just got these little Greenwich couplings, and then these should just slide into the NEM pockets. Something like that. They might be better off with a little bit of glue just to hold them in place. There we go, that's gone in now, nice. So there we have it, ready and waiting to be taken up to the layout to see what it looks like. And also there is the completed third as well. Okay, and there is the finished coach. This one is the brake composite, of course. The painting is not 100% perfect, but I'm reasonably happy with it. What it could do with is a set of transfers to go across as well. I'll need to see if I can work out where to get some suitably sized ones of those. And obviously it's going to be needing some passengers painted up and putting in, and definitely some standing up on the veranda ends as well. But to be honest, I'm extremely pleased with this. I think it's a very nice kit. It looks very good, and for a very reasonable price as well. I think well worth the money. And of course the other thing to note is that these are very, very big coaches by 009 standards, so they're not going to fit on a lot of layouts. I'm not sure quite how tight the curves of the radius this is going to get around. The tightest curve that I've got on the layout is 11 inches, and it feeds through that with absolutely no problems whatsoever, and it gets through the Pico Y point that I've got on the layout. It made it through that with no issues as well. So that's very good. And here also is the third that I've painted up as well. And in fact, I liked these kits so much that even though I'd initially only bought this third and the brake composite, I have since working on this also bought a second one of the third, so I've got the full set of three. Just waiting for the third one to paint up as well. Okay, so here we can see the Welshpool train standing in the station, and I think that's looking rather nice. I'm pretty pleased. And we can see how they're a good size behind the big Austrian logo there. And yeah, I think they're looking very much at home. I just need to get some passengers painted up and put inside, but with those nice removable roofs, that's not going to be too much of a hassle. And they're pretty nice as well. I'm not 100% sure as to the precise accuracy of the dimensions of this, but I do have as a point of reference an unbuilt Worsley Works brass scratch aid etch, and we can see if I put that right behind it, it is very, very close, but the Worsley kit is coming out with the main coach body as being slightly longer than that on the Inoxion kit. If you look at the railings of the etches, you can see that the 3D printed on the Inoxion is much finer than the brass etch on the Worsley kit. And also, if you compare the floor on the Worsley kit, you can see that the overall length of the coach is exactly the same. So on the Worsley kit, the body is slightly longer, but that means that the veranda ends are slightly narrower than they are on the Inoxion. I'm not 100% sure which one of those is going to be more accurate, but personally I do very much like the look of the Inoxion one, and I'm very, very happy to have these on the layout. So there we have it then, that's my rather long-winded build of the Inoxion Models Welshpool Llanfair coaches. Really, really super kits. They are a bit tricky to paint for sure, and I do think there's plenty of modelers who could have got a much nicer finish on the paintwork than me, but I'm pretty happy with them, and I do think from a normal viewing distance they do look good. The extreme close-ups on the camera are not too kind, but when you're viewing it normally on the layout, they do look quite nice. They're certainly not kits that's going to be for everybody because they are very large, so a lot of layouts are not going to have enough space to run them. But if you do have a bigger layout and you run the 2'6" style coaching stock, they are very good and they're definitely worth the price. And compared to the Worsley Works, their prices are pretty similar, I think. But with the Worsley kits, you don't get the bogies and you have absolutely no interior whatsoever. So they are very good value and really, really nice prints. So yeah, this is the finished coach. I'm very, very pleased with that. If you do have space for a coach this big, I would definitely recommend looking into these kits. I will put a link in the description to the Inoxion website that you can order them from. In the meantime, I hope you found the video useful and or interesting. If you did, feel free to do the usual comment, like, subscribe and all of that jazz. And in the meantime, I'll see you next time, and thank you very much for watching. Thank you. Goodbye.